Long, long ago, deep in the green mountains of Japan, there was a peaceful little village surrounded by tall cedar trees. The villagers lived simple, happy lives, working together each day and enjoying the beauty of every season. Birds sang every morning, and the mountain air was fresh and calm. Not far from the village stood an old Buddhist temple, nestled among quiet forests. The monks welcomed every traveler with kindness. Living beside them was a magnificent white dog named Shippei Taro. He was gentle, loyal, and loved by everyone who met him. Shippei Taro was strong and brave, but he was also calm and kind. Children laughed as they played with him, and visitors smiled whenever he wagged his fluffy tail. The villagers often said, "There is no dog wiser than Shippei Taro." One cool autumn evening, an elderly traveling monk arrived at a mountain village he had never visited before. The villagers greeted him warmly and offered him a simple meal. Although everyone was kind, the monk noticed sadness hidden behind their gentle smiles. After supper, the village chief sighed deeply. "Tomorrow night," he said softly, "our village must face another terrible tradition." The monk listened carefully, wondering why such a peaceful village seemed filled with quiet fear. The chief explained that every year, a mountain oni came to the old shrine. To protect the village, one young girl had to be left there alone. No one had ever dared to fight the fearsome visitor. This year, the chosen child was the village chief's own daughter. She was gentle and kind, with a brave heart despite her fear. She smiled at her father and said, "Please do not worry. I will be strong." The monk could not sleep that night. He quietly stepped outside beneath the bright moon and prayed for guidance. A cool breeze whispered through the trees as he wondered if there was any way to save the young girl. As he walked near the forest, the monk heard strange voices echoing between the trees. Carefully hiding behind the bushes, he saw several mountain oni laughing together around a small fire. One yoni suddenly stopped laughing and said, "Everything will go well tomorrow, as long as Shippei Taro never comes here." The others nodded quickly, and the monk's eyes widened. At last, he had found a small ray of hope. Before the first light of dawn, the traveling monk thanked the villagers and began his journey through the mountain trails. The path was long and quiet, but he walked with hope in his heart, thinking only of saving the young girl. After many hours, the monk reached the old temple hidden among the cedar trees. Shippei Taro greeted him with calm, gentle eyes and a friendly wag of his fluffy tail, as if he already understood why the monk had come. The monk bowed to the head monk and told him everything about the frightened village and the mysterious oni. The old monk listened quietly, then placed a gentle hand on Shippei Taro's head. "Our faithful friend," he said softly. "It is time to help those in need once again." Without hesitation, Shippei Taro stood proudly and followed the traveling monk. Together they walked through peaceful forests, crossed clear mountain streams, and climbed winding paths as the golden afternoon sun shone through the trees. When they arrived, the villagers gathered in surprise. They had heard stories about the famous white dog, but had never seen him before. Hope slowly returned to their faces as Shippei Taro looked around with calm confidence. The village chief thanked Shippei Taro with tears in his eyes. His daughter smiled gently and reached out to pat the brave dog's soft white fur. Shippei Taro wagged his tail, making everyone feel a little safer. As evening came, the monk made a careful plan. The young girl would stay safely inside the temple, while Shippei Taro quietly waited outside the old shrine beneath the bright full moon. The village became silent as darkness covered the mountains. Lanterns glowed softly in the windows, and families prayed together. Shippei Taro sat perfectly still, watching the forest with sharp eyes and steady courage. Soon, the sound of drums and laughter drifted through the trees. Several mountain oni appeared from the darkness, carrying glowing lanterns as they walked toward the old shrine, expecting everything to happen as before. The oni suddenly stopped. Standing quietly beneath the moonlight was Shippei Taro. His white fur shimmered like fresh snow, and his calm, fearless eyes never looked away. For the first time, the oni felt fear instead of pride. One of the oni took a nervous step forward, but Shippei Taro let out a single powerful bark. The sound echoed through the mountains, and the forest became silent. Even the wind seemed to pause for a moment. The oni looked at one another with frightened faces. "It really is Shippei Taro," one of them cried. Remembering the stories they had heard, they slowly stepped backward, their courage fading with every moment. Shippei Taro stood tall and fearless, never showing anger. His calm strength was enough. The oni realized they could no longer frighten the villagers and quietly turned away from the shrine. One by one, the oni disappeared into the dark forest. Before leaving, their leader looked back and said, "We will never trouble this village again." Soon, only the peaceful sounds of the night remained. The traveling monk smiled with relief and thanked Shippei Taro for his bravery. The village chief hurried to embrace his daughter, grateful that she was safe. Tears of joy filled the eyes of many villagers. The next morning, the whole village gathered beneath the warm autumn sunshine. Colorful banners fluttered in the breeze as everyone celebrated together with music, dancing, rice cakes, and happy laughter. Children surrounded Shippei Taro, gently hugging his soft white fur and thanking him for protecting their village. The faithful dog wagged his fluffy tail happily, enjoying every smile around him. Before returning home, the traveling monk bowed deeply to the villagers. "True courage," he said with a warm smile, "comes from protecting others with kindness, not from seeking glory." Everyone quietly nodded in agreement. From that day on, the story of Shippei Taro was told for generations. People remembered the brave white dog whose courage and gentle heart protected those in need. And whenever the wind whispered through the cedar trees, it seemed to carry his faithful spirit across the peaceful mountains. The end.